What if I told you it's so easy to fall into a victim mindset, and if you don't stop the habits early, it can ruin your life? I know this because I fell into the same trap when my first business failed, so I know how easily you can develop the wrong mindset. So here are 5 habits you want to avoid at all costs, and also what you can do to break free from this victim mindset. Number 1, clinging on to your past. You might believe by reliving your mistakes and being hard on yourself is the right thing to do as a man. I definitely thought this. Just picture this, being in your early 20s, sitting on your bed, looking around your bedroom and seeing boxes of new clothes you bought with a £15,000 loan from the bank, and realizing you've got no one to sell them to and you've made one huge mistake. To make things even worse, for the next 5 years, I received a letter from the same bank reminding me that I need to pay them £275 a month. This not only made me feel like shit, it reminded me of all the mistakes I made. I was this close to never wanting to do business ever again. And I reckon if I kept on focusing on all the mistakes I made, I would have just ended up feeling sorry for myself and falling deeper into that victim mindset. But luckily, I met the right people at the right time. Once I finished university, I went on to my hospital placement, where I met a guy called Bill Davidson. And just having conversations with him, speaking about life and business, I learned failures are part of life, but also there's other opportunities. You just don't have to focus on one thing. There are so many ways you can actually make money but also become successful. Furthermore, your failures hold key lessons to your future success. Every failure I've had over the last 20 years is helping me today. Once I was able to take the emotion out of that first failure, I was able to see all the mistakes I made. So when I set up my second business, I spent less money on a website. Instead of buying loads of stock, I got the companies to ship the products direct to the patient. I spent more money on marketing. Therefore, if you've experienced failure, setbacks, disappointments, even rejection, you can either feel sorry for yourself and fall into that victim mindset, or you can use it as an opportunity to learn and get better. If you continue to get better after each setback, you will develop the right mindset and you will be in the place you want to be in a matter of months. Number 2, complaining. Right now, you might feel stuck and you might believe no matter what you do, you can't change your situation. But instead of looking for solutions to fix your problems, you're choosing to complain and you're not realizing the impact this is having on your mindset, but also the ability to change your life. I get it, sometimes things get too much, you just need to vent your frustrations. But the problem is, when you complain, it makes you focus on the wrong things. And once you start focusing on all the negatives, you end up saying things like, I have no money, I can't do it, no one understands what I'm going through, life is unfair. Now, these statements may be true, but the problem is your brain will only act upon what you feed it. And if you're telling it you're a victim all the time, how life is so hard, how things are so difficult, your brain takes it in, which seeps deeper into your thoughts. And then you end up creating this victim mindset. A little personal example from my own life. When I was at school, I always complained about not being clever enough. So guess what happened? Whenever I needed to study for an exam, that thought repeated in my mind. And I thought, what's the point of studying? What's the point of trying if I'm not clever enough? By complaining about not being clever enough didn't fix the situation. If anything, it actually made the situation worse. That's why you've got to stop complaining, because it will just impact your results. It's only when I realized that I was telling myself this story and it was becoming my reality. If I just stopped complaining about not being clever enough and just focused on trying to learn things, I would have changed my life, but also my situation. I know how complaining can hold you back. That's why you've got to stop it at all costs. Because complaining stops you from finding solutions. And when you can't find solutions, you feel stuck. And when you feel stuck, you feel like a victim. Therefore, the next time you get the urge to complain, just stop and ask yourself, are these words gonna help me or make me feel worse? If it's not helping, simply just stop and don't say those words, because every time you think and speak, you're wasting vital energy from your brain. Instead, use that energy to think, how can I improve my situation and how can I improve my life? If you need to earn extra money, think, can I get another job? Can I take extra hours at work? Can I apply for a new job? Can I start a side hustle? Can I start flipping stuff I already have in my house? If you want to improve your fitness, think, can I train before I go to work? Can I join some classes? Can I take on a new hobby? You don't have to lift weights to get into better shape. You can play tennis, go rock climbing, you can even do jiu-jitsu. I really believe there's a solution for everything. That's why you've got to stop complaining so you can see the possibilities out there. If you continue to complain, you will remain a victim. But if you start to find solutions, start to take action, you will start to develop the right mindset. Number 3, excuses. Now, this may sound similar to complaining, but they hit your mindset in totally different ways. Complaining is more to do with just talking about your problems, whereas excuses is finding a reason not to take action. And I guarantee you've said one of these things in the last month. I don't have time. I'm tired. I'll start tomorrow. I will start next week. I don't have the right equipment. I don't have enough money. Every time you choose to make an excuse, you tell your brain it's okay to avoid hard things. Excuses may stop you from experiencing a little bit of pain, but it's those experiences that help you to develop the right mindset. If you continually try to avoid discomfort, over time, you will develop a weak mindset that is unable to deal with difficult situations. And when that happens, you end up feeling like a victim because you have no control over your life. You have to train yourself to develop the right mindset. You have to go through pain, discomfort, uncomfortable moments in your life to develop the right mindset. If you don't, you end up giving your life up to excuses, which creates a weak victim mindset. Going through certain experiences helps you to develop the right mindset, but it also allows you to know how capable you are. So when things get difficult, you're able to deal with them. But if you continue to find excuses to do the things you need to do, there will come a point in your life where things will get too much. You will end up feeling sorry for yourself. You will make even more excuses for being in that situation, but you will just sink yourself further into that victim mindset. So you need to stop making excuses and start taking action. And you can do that by doing these 3 things. Number 1, plan your day. If you plan your day, you're more likely to take action. And science has proven if you write things down, you're more likely to do it. Number 2, make your tasks easier. You don't have to go to the gym for 3 hours, work on your business for 5 hours. Just turn up every day to work on those important things. As long as you're turning up, you will make progress. Number 3, don't wait for motivation. Just force yourself to take action no matter what it takes. Just do something. Number 4, pointing the finger. Now, you might be right to blame others for your situation, but that doesn't mean you should, because blaming others for your situation only impacts you. You might blame your ex for your heartache. You might even blame your boss for not getting a pay rise. You might even blame the matrix system that we live in for your struggles. But this only convinces your brain that you have no control over your life and everyone else controls what happens to you. Blaming others is a lot easier than looking in the mirror and realizing you have to level up. That's why so many men choose to blame others than take action. But this keeps you stuck in that victim mindset. So if you want to change your life and improve your situation, number 1, you've got to stop blaming other people and start looking for solutions. Number 2, control your emotions. When we get angry, we can end up blaming someone else for our situation, which keeps you stuck in that victim mindset. The next time your frustration takes over, take a second, breathe, and think before you're going to speak. Then, instead of blaming, I want you to ask yourself, what can I do next? What can I do to improve this situation? What can I learn to get better? Once you stop blaming other people and start taking action, your life will start to change and you will no longer start to feel like a victim. You will actually feel in control of your life and be able to do the things that you want. Number 5, I'm a victim. The moment you open your mouth, you can either push yourself towards success or push yourself further into that victim mindset. So if you hear yourself saying things like, I'm not good enough, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I don't deserve this, I'm a victim, those words are feeding your mindset, but they're also creating your reality. Here's a little example from my own personal life, how my words shape my reality but also my actions. For 15 years, I told myself I wasn't a morning person. So every morning I struggled to get up, but also when I got up in the morning, I didn't feel like doing anything. For so long, I thought, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get up like these other guys that get up so early? I wasn't even trying to get up at 5 a.m. at that time. I wasn't even trying to get up at 7 a.m. But I found it so hard. As soon as I stopped saying I wasn't a morning person, I found it a lot easier to get up in the morning. Listen, I'm not saying you say one thing and suddenly it's going to become that. But what I am saying is certain words will impact your actions, but also how you feel. That's why it's so important you become conscious of the words that are coming out of your mouth. You may not realize it, but you could be saying the littlest thing that could be feeding that victim mindset. That's why I've changed the way I speak about my business, my relationships, my money, my family, because I've realized certain words will drive you to do certain things, feel a certain way, but also feed that mindset. I make sure my words are pulling me up instead of dragging me down. Now, if you need any help with your life or your mindset, you can work directly with me. The link's in the description. But if you want to know how to be happier in the morning, you might want to click here.